Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yes, this is official, and no, I'm not joking with ya. The Nintendo Switch emulator on PC and Android, Yuzu, is officially dead. And on top of that, the Nintendo 3DS emulator on Android and PC, Citra, is also dead. So here's the official statement from Yuzu. We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu support of Citra are being discontinued, effective immediately. Yuzu and its team have always been against piracy. We started the projects in good faith, out of passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games, and we're not intending to cause harm. But we see now that because our projects can circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures and allow users to play games outside of authorized hardware, they have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. We have come to the decision that we cannot continue to allow this to occur. Piracy was never our intention, and we believe that piracy of video games and on video game consoles should end. Effective today, we will be pulling our code repositories offline, discontinuing our Patreon accounts and Discord servers, and soon shutting down our websites. We hope our actions will be a small step towards ending piracy of all creators' works. And Citra, which shares a lot of the developers that Yuzu has, made the exact same statement. So here's the repository for Yuzu's open source code, and you can see it no longer exists. And here's the repository for Citra's open source code, and again, you can see that it no longer exists. Now, if you're wondering where all of this came from, apparently Yuzu met with Nintendo and agreed to settle the court case. And as far as I know, this is the document. It appears that Yuzu has also agreed to pay Nintendo $2.4 million. Obviously, this seems like a big win for Nintendo, and a lot of people have been asking why Yuzu decided to throw in the towel and settle with Nintendo. And we might have some insight as to why. Now, it's worth pointing out that this is just a rumor and it may turn out not to be true, but this person says, okay, a mutual broke down more context on the Yuzu case. Nintendo was going to win no matter what because Yuzu had support fixes for specifically Tears of the Kingdom emulation behind Patreon that they were charging for. After finding that out, they now understand why Nintendo went after them. If this is true and Yuzu had support fixes for a game that hadn't been released yet and hidden behind a paywall at that could have been the silver bullet for Nintendo to win the case. Now, obviously, after everything that's gone down, one of the big questions is what is going to happen with the future of emulation? Now, I am not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice, and this statement sums up what I understand. Because Nintendo and Yuzu settled before going to trial, the decision has no legal repercussions on how future court cases would rule on emulation. And this is where Exhibit A comes in, which to my understanding was also filed as a part of the settlement. So the statement says, and it's a mouthful, developing or distributing software, including Yuzu, that in its ordinary course functions only when cryptographic keys are integrated without authorization, violates the Digital Millennium Copyright Act's prohibition on trafficking in devices that circumvent effective technological measures, because the software is primarily designed for the purpose of circumventing technological measures. The way I understand this, and I could be wrong here, but Yuzu only works if someone's got prod and title keys that have to be taken off a hacked Switch. And to make matters worse, Yuzu auto-generates title keys, which may be a problem in itself. To further support that argument, earlier on this year, Dolphin was taken off the Steam store, and it turned out they had used Nintendo's leaked Wii Common Key to help decrypt games. Now, we talked about this one a while back, and I'll drop a link to the Ars Technica article in the description below, and feel free to check it out. At that point in time, the Nintendo lawyers wrote, the Dolphin emulator operates by incorporating these cryptographic keys without Nintendo's authorization. This circumvents a technological measure that effectively controls access. So it seems that this was Nintendo's main focus. And now you may ask, what does this mean for other emulators like Ryujinx, Panda, and even more? So as for Ryujinx, to be honest with you here, I've got no idea what happens moving forward. I don't know if Nintendo's going to go after them or not. I do know they don't auto-generate their title keys, which may help in their argument. As for Panda 3DS, as far as I know, it's continuing. As for Mikage, they state, for the record, the recent legal shenanigans do not affect our 3DS emulator. As for other emulators, I might be wrong here, but I think they're completely unaffected. I mean, our PCS3 does require PS3 firmware. But at the same time, Sony provides that 100% free right on their website. And emulators for even older systems, unless I'm mistaken here, do not have to worry about any of that stuff, and theoretically they should be okay. And on top of all of that, as a result of all of this, there's some changes to applications like EmuDeck. EmuDeck 2.1.5 is out, but this is not a good news announcement. Nintendo killed Yuzu, so we've removed it from EmuDeck and set Ryujinx as the solo and default Switch emulation option. Citra is gone too. We are going to test Panda 3DS to try to add some sort of 3DS emulation back as soon as possible. So overall, it doesn't appear that Nintendo 3DS nor Switch emulation is completely dead, yet. I do believe that emulators moving forward are going to have to take a different approach in order to avoid the wrath of Nintendo and Sony and other companies if they don't like circumvention of cryptography. And on a quick side note, both Citra and Yuzu were open source, which means their source code was available for pretty much anyone who wanted to see it. There was nothing stopping anybody from taking that source code and using it on their own, possibly creating a clone of Yuzu or Citra. And since this is the internet and it's really hard to take something off the internet once it's on there, there's a chance that someone's got that code somewhere. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. You may see the argument now why it may be beneficial to have multiple emulators for the same system, not to put all your eggs in one basket. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of this in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.